Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is my review for the series premiere of Daredevil, Season 1, Episode 1, Into the Ring. And of course, I was looking forward to this show. I mean, who wasn't looking forward to Daredevil? It was one of the most anticipated premieres of the entire year, definitely. I was just so interested in seeing what Netflix was going to do with the Marvel series, especially when I heard that this was going to be a lot darker and that was going to be really different. And after that trailer came out, I was definitely interested in seeing it. And I didn't watch anything after that. I didn't watch it. I told myself, I'm not watching a single trailer. I don't want to know anything. I would watch some concept art trailers. That's all I'm going to watch. I watch, like, the moving posters. That's all I watched. I didn't watch any of the other trailers because I didn't want to be spoiled. And I'm very glad I did that because I have to say, Daredevil, how do I describe it? It is perfect, honestly. Daredevil is perfect. This is probably the best pilot I have seen all year. I'm not kidding. It really is. And honestly, this was the best thing for Netflix to do. The best decision that Marvel's ever made is partner up with Netflix, because this is honestly the best superhero show on TV right now, because it's not even a superhero show. And I'm going to talk about what I love about this show so much. There's so many things to love about this show. There's so much to talk about with this show, but I'm going to get into it. Let's just get in this episode because it was absolutely amazing. And one of the things I love about this episode is that we're literally a minute into this episode, and already I was very into it. There was never a moment in this show where I was bored or anything, and that's just because of the constant tension, especially in this first scene that I'm definitely going to get to. Because we start where we see Jack Murdock, who we see him, he's racing frantically through the streets of Hell's Kitchen, and he stops the scene of an accident in which his son, Matt, our main character, is at the center. And this whole scene, extremely hard to watch, and you already see how different this is from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Agent Carter or any of those shows. And the reason it's so different is because they would never do something like this. They'd never have a dark scene that's so hard to watch. In fact, I almost cried at this scene. That's how effective this was. He's at the center, and he's lying on the street, and he's screaming, and we see that there's industrial barrels leaking chemicals surround Matt, and a man nearby says that Matt pushed him out of the way of a runaway truck carrying those barrels, and Matt actually saved this man's life, but the chemicals spilled onto Matt's face, leaving him blind, and basically he screams that he can't see the ambulance sirens grow in the background. And I love that scene for two reasons. It tells us two things about Matt, and we barely even know his character. One, he's a good man. He loves to save people. He's really helpful. He definitely is a vigilante like Oliver Queen or, you know, Barry Allen or someone like that. And I know this is Marvel, but I'm just saying, you know, that's who he is, basically. Two, he is blind, and now we know how he became blind. And I absolutely love that they did that, because there's no questioning, oh, how did he become blind? No, they just subtly tell you things. And something I love about the show is how subtle it is, and I'll get to that. So then we go back to, we go to the present, and this scene was so well done, because Matt is confessing to a priest in the church, and he talks about his father, Jack, how he, you know, we just saw his father, and he's describing his father as this, a fighter. Was a professional boxer, but he also was you know, as a man. He was really a fighter as a man. You know, he fought a lot, and he did what was best to protect people, and basically, according to Matt, his grandmother was a devout Catholic who would warn people against the Murdock men, who had the devil in them, hence the name Daredevil. That's probably why he calls himself the Daredevil, because he's always thought about this. And Matt continues describing his father, explaining how battling Jack Murdock would subdue his opponents in the ring, and the priest asks Matt what sins he's actually committed. And we realize that Matt hasn't done anything. He's done nothing, but he knows he's going to do something. He's also not asking forgiveness for what he's about to do, and the priest asks him what he's about to do, and that just leaves us intrigued. That whole scene is very intriguing, and I absolutely love that. So the scene then shifts to an empty lot in Hell's Kitchen, and at night, several men are forcing girls into a van for human trafficking, which I don't even want to get into human trafficking. It is disgusting, it is just wrong, and I do not condone human trafficking, but this scene was amazing, because suddenly Daredevil enters the scene, and he brutally assaults the kidnappers, and this is something that we never see on any Marvel show, or even Arrow. Like, this has the tone of Arrow, but it's to the next level. It's so dark and gritty, and I love it. And he's just beating the shit out of them. They're begging, you know, they're begging for mercy. And honestly, what I love about the show is how realistic it is. Because, yeah, in those shows, Arrow and The Flash and things like that, there's no blood. And in real life, there would be blood. It would be brutal, and that's what this is. It's brutally honest, and I love that. A man tries shooting Daredevil, but Daredevil dodges the fire, vanishes, but suddenly throws one of his billy clubs to knock the thug out, and Matt tells the girls to run, then savagely beats the final kidnapper in the face, and that was awesome. And then we get to the intro of the show, which, let me just say, the intro, oh my god, the intro to the show is so awesome. It perfectly sets up the tone of the show, and it's perfect. The intro is great. So, I already love this show from there. I already told myself I'm going to love this show, and just those first few minutes are just fantastic, the way they start it. So the next morning, Matt wakes up to a phone call from his friend Foggy. Now, one of the things I love about Foggy's character is that he is comic relief. He is the comic relief of this show, but he's not just comic relief. He's no Cisco Romero. Okay, I'm going to say that right now. He's no Cisco Romero. He's not Ray Palmer. I mean, he's definitely more in terms of, like, Ray Palmer or... you know, think of humorous characters, but he's not just a humorous character. There's a lot more with him that I really love about his character. So, Foggy tells him to meet him with the real estate agent as soon as possible, and Foggy then meets a New York City police officer named Brett, who's Foggy has known since he was a child, and he gives the cop a bag of money for his mother in exchange for leads on cases. So, Foggy then meets Matt with the real estate agent in the potential new offices of Matt and Foggy's law firm, Nelson and Murdock, which is where they work, basically. So the agent says that the building was barely damaged by the Chitauri invasion from the Avengers, referring to it as the incident, and now we're starting to see how this is going to connect, because eventually this is going to connect to the Avengers. It is, but they do it very subtly here. They don't even, like, that's the only time they actually connect it to the Marvel movies, which I love. And honestly, what that's setting up is how dark the movies are going to be, because I know people saw Avengers Age of Ultron, they said it's really dark, they said it's really different, and this right here is a very different vibe than anything Marvel's ever done, and if this is the direction that Marvel wants to take things in, I love it, and I'll talk about that when I get more in depth with the show. But Matt says that he'll take the office, but Foggy protests because I need high cost, and the two are debating about it. But Matt wins, and he says, "Welcome to the new offices of Nelson and Murdock." And I thought that was a really good scene. So we then see across town we meet Karen Paige, who she's holding this bloody knife over a dead man, and the cops burst into the room, but Karen cries that she didn't kill the man, and the question is, did she actually do it? We don't know what the verdict was, if she actually did it, if she didn't kill the man. She claims she didn't, but they don't believe a thing she says, and basically, Brett then calls Foggy and tips him off that Karen is being held in police custody for the homicide, and I really like the way that people described it, is that she is a damsel in distress, but she is a real character. Like, she is not just a damsel in distress. She's no Iris West, okay? She's not Iris, who is just on the show to be a love interest. That's not who she is at all. She has a legit story, she has a backstory, and I love that. Her storyline is so intriguing, because, I mean, she could have killed this man, but yet she's claiming she didn't, and you're trying to figure out, is she actually innocent? Should I sympathize with her? Or is she the most deceitful liar there is? And I really love that we don't really know what she did, and I think that's really well done they did that. So Foggy and Matt go meet her in the NYPD office, where they introduce themselves, and they say that they're there to offer her legal assistance, and they say that Karen is the only suspect in a murder of a man named Daniel Fisher. And Karen asks why they're helping her. You know, she's asking her, you know, are you guys just good Samaritans, and what exactly are you? And they admit that they're new lawyers desperately seeking clients, because you can tell that they don't really have a lot of cases, and of course, he paid that cop to get him some sort of case, and now they know of a case, so they're very desperate to find clients, and I really like seeing that. Again, they're very subtly revealing things. We're just finding out now that they're lawyers, and that they're trying to seek clients. They're not going over the top about it, no, they're seeking clients, and I love how subtle they reveal that. That was really well done. So, basically, they ask if Karen would be their first client, and Karen says that she worked with Fisher and was friends with him, and earlier that night, they met for a few drinks at a bar, and Karen says that she then blacked out and woke up with the bloody knife in her hand, hearing her steady heartbeats, and Matt knows that she isn't lying, and this starts to show Matt's abilities. I don't know if you guys know this, I didn't know this, but Matt can actually hear. He has very good hearing, like he has very distinctive hearing, and he can hear things very closely, and he has a lot better hearing. Ever since he became blind, he's had that gift. So, and I've heard this, you know, people say this, that he's not technically blind. He's blind where he can't see, but he can hear really well, and he has very, very good hearing, like perfect hearing. hearing, and he can hear her heartbeat, and she knows that she isn't lying. And I like that they talk, that we keep seeing that with heartbeats, because, I mean, he can tell when someone's lying. When your heartbeat's really fast, you know you're lying, but her heartbeat's pretty steady, so he knows that she is telling the truth here, and I thought that was really well done. So basically, we then see that the next morning, Wilson Fisk, who is going to be our main antagonist of the maybe the series, I don't know if it's just the season or the series, but I know he is the main antagonist right now. His right-hand man, Wesley, meets a man in a New York City park and tells him to pay a debt to the Kingpin. And the man tries walking away, he's not interested, but Wesley is very determined. He wants to make this work somehow. He needs to make this work because this was Wilson Fisk's, thing that he told him to do, and basically, he comes up with this great idea. He sees that, and I love that he does this. We see that the man is very close to his daughter. Very close to his daughter. They have a very good relationship, and Wesley can see how close these two are. So he decides that he will kill the man's daughter unless he pays. But since the man has no money, because he doesn't, he basically has to repay Wilson Fisk a special favor. And I'm wondering, what is that special favor? And it's very creepy. It's very well done. It makes us more intrigued, and I love that, because we don't know what that special favor is. And I was interested in seeing what that special favor was, because I didn't know what it was, and just hearing that line, I'm like, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to figure out what that is. So across town, Matt and Foggy, they're poring over Karen's case, and Matt's wondering why the police haven't formally pressed charges, saying that there's something fishy with the case. Because, I mean, that is understandable why he's asking that. It honestly is a very good question, because if they really thought she did it, they would have pressed charges. They would have sued her with all this money, but there's something else going on. Matt thinks she's innocent, but Foggy remains unconvinced. He thinks that she did it. He thinks that she's lying, and I think this is definitely going to be a big thing this season. I definitely feel like these two are going to clash a lot about things, and I definitely like that. While Foggy is Matt's best friend, and while he is a very fun character, he is in no way just a comic relief character. As I said, he has a lot to do, and I love seeing that. So basically, they agree to take the case anyway, and basically over in Karen's holding cell, a jail guard tries killing Karen, but Karen's able to save herself and cries for help, and Matt and Foggy then arrive and bargain for Karen's release in exchange for not pressing charges against the crooked prison guard. And Matt tries piecing everything together, thinking the guard was trying to stage Karen's death as suicide to seal her supposed guilt. And I can understand why he's doing that, but does the guard know the truth? Does he know that she killed this guy? Does he know that she killed Daniel? Did she not kill Daniel? I'm very interested in seeing what if this guard actually knows what's going on there, because Matt seems to definitely know something that the guard doesn't know, and I'm interested in seeing what's really going on there. So Matt and Foggy then take Karen to the offices of Nelson and Murdock, and Karen says that she knows why the guard tried to kill her, and Karen says that she worked in the offices of Union Allied, which was a property developer that was working to restore New York's West Side, and she was a secretary for the company's chief accountant, where she coordinated the company's pension claims, and a week ago she accidentally opened an email meant for her boss, and in the email, she accidentally sees that the company's receiving far too much money than it should, and she surmises that Union Allied is embezzling money. So she brought the embezzlement claims to her boss, but he laughed it off, and she then brought the numbers to Daniel Fisher, who worked in the company's legal department, which is where she then asked him for a drink. She recalls passing out, waking up with Fisher's dead body and the bloody knife, and basically that's why people think she killed him. She thinks that, they basically think that she's this crazy person, and you can see, I honestly do believe her. I do. I think that what she's saying makes total sense, and you can tell that she's not lying. We know that she's not lying because Matt is saying that she's not lying, and basically she's bursting out into tears, and Matt promises to take care of her, and we're very slowly starting to see a bond between these two. It's not like we want these two together or anything, and I like that, because I don't think we're supposed to really want these two together right now. It's not a romance that we want. This is not a show where you're just going to get a random romance. No, that's not the kind of show we're watching. This is a show where you're going to care for the characters, and I really cared for her character in that scene. I love that Matt decides to help her out, because that was the best thing for him to do, is to help her out in this situation, because she did need some help. So I thought that was really well done. So Matt then takes Karen to his apartment, and he offers Karen a clean t-shirt, and Karen asks him what everyone pretty much asks him. Apparently he gets asked this question a lot, which is understandable. I can understand why he gets asked this question, but basically she asks him, was he ever blind? Has he been blind his whole life? And he basically tells her the whole story. and he says it was a car accident, but it wasn't a car accident. We know that it was that he tried to save a man. So clearly he doesn't want anyone to know that, and I don't really know why. Probably because he only commits these crimes, he only is a vigilante at night, and in the day he's just a lawyer. I mean, I can understand that, but he needs to come forward and tell her the truth. I mean, if he doesn't like when people are lying, then he needs to tell her the truth. So basically, Matt recalls how he became blind when he was 9. He says he remembers what it was like to see and admits that he misses his sight, and you really do feel bad for him. I mean, you see that he used to be able to see, and basically, he runs through Karen's story with her again, asking Karen why her boss tried framing her for murder instead of just killing her initially, because, I mean, that's what he should have tried to do. If he really didn't trust her, then he should have just killed her. And he posits that basically Karen must have something they want, specifically a file containing all of Union Allied's embezzlement information, and he asks Karen if she still has the file, and she's saying that she doesn't. However, we see that her rapid heartbeat reveals that she's lying. She's not telling the truth here. So, clearly, she doesn't want anyone to know that she still has this file. Why she does have this file, I don't know what's on this file, but clearly there's something else on that file. So, she still has it and doesn't want anyone else to know about it. So across the city, a group of men from Union Allied meet with a woman named Madame Gao. Now, Union Allied, let me just say, they are our big villains of the season. They are after, they're going to be after Daredevil and, Karen and all of them. They're going to be after all of the people that we like on the show. So Wesley comes to meet them, saying that the Wilson Fisk couldn't make it himself. And one of the things I love about this episode is that we haven't even met Wilson Fisk's character, and already we can see he's going to be a very good villain. He's going to be a very powerful villain, and we don't even see him in this first episode. And I love that. I love it they don't show the villain in the first episode. It's so much better when you don't reveal your villain and just then, don't show him immediately. Get us to know more about him and then show him, I think is awesome. And the fact that they don't decide to show him, I think it was one of the highlights of the episode. I'm like, wow, they're not showing him yet, because I was expecting for Wilson Fisk to appear in this scene, but he doesn't even appear in this episode, which I love, and it's just showing that he's gonna be a very thrilling villain. He's gonna be a very, he definitely is going to be a force to be reckoned with, and he's gonna be a very threatening villain, and we haven't even met the guy, but you can already tell he's gonna be so threatening just from what we learn about him. And basically, Wesley asks the men why they're short on their supply from the dock job, and they blame Daredevil's interference, describing how the vigilante beat the men and set the captive girls free. And we realize that all those men were part of Union Allied, and basically Madame Gao wants to know if Daredevil took the nearby money for himself, but the men says he didn't, and Wesley says that Kingpin will be angry to know that a new vigilante is disrupting his operations and will handle it. Now, if you don't know who Kingpin is, he basically is set out in the, I know in the original movie, I don't know what his character is going to do here, but I'm very interested in seeing how his character is going to be. Kingpin, again, another character we don't meet in this episode, but we do realize what Kingpin does. And I'm interested in seeing when we actually do meet Kingpin, because he just seems like he's going to be an awesome villain. So, I love that scene because, again, we don't know Kingpin. We haven't met, we haven't met Wilson Fisk, but we can already tell that they're going to be very threatening villains, and I love that. So across town, Karen leaves Matt's apartment, walks back to her apartment. In the scene of Fisher's murder, she sees the blood stains still in the carpet. She enters the room, recovers the Union Allied file with the incriminating evidence, but she's not alone. Another man enters the room, knocks Karen out, takes the file. Who it is, we don't know. He draws a knife and is about to kill her, but Daredevil enters, and the two struggle in an equally matched fight. And again, such an awesome fight scene. The fight scenes in the show are so well choreographed, and they're not in any way superhero fight scenes. No, these are intense fight scenes, and I love it. The assassin pulls Matt out the window, falling onto the street below, and Matt struggles to pick himself up because, of course, he's blind and he can't see, and you see this great scene of he goes back to the past where Jack is talking to Matt. This is when Matt just recently became blind when he was 9, and he's telling him to keep studying. He tells Matt he has to keep studying so that he'll receive a solid education, not end up a brawler like himself, and this pushes Matt to keep fighting because he realizes that he does need to keep fighting. And the assassin approaches Daredevil. They keep brawling in the street, and Daredevil is finally able to subdue the man, but is exhausted, and with the file in hand, Daredevil takes it to the police, and with Union Allied scheme made public via and exposed in the newspaper, Wesley finds a scapegoat to keep Wilson clean. And I don't know what Wilson did, but basically Wilson instructs Wesley to keep tabs on Karen along with Matt and Foggy. So clearly he knows all these people, but how did they know him? Because we haven't heard Karen, Matt, or Foggy bring up Wilson Fisk. So how do they know Wilson Fisk? I'm interested in seeing how they know him, how their, what their story is with him, because clearly he knows them, and he wants to go after them. Why he does, we don't know yet. We don't exactly even know what his motive is. We can already tell that he is a very good villain, and I can't wait to see what else he shows. I can't wait to see what happens in this show with him. So, across town, Matt, Foggy, and Karen celebrate Karen's innocence, and there, Matt and Foggy actually decide to hire Karen as Nelson and Murdock's official secretary, which I thought was great, because that's what her old job was, and they're basically giving her back the job that she wanted, and later Matt enters an old gym, and he starts training on a punching bag and perfecting his fighting skills. It's such an awesome scene, because then we see that in another building, a man from Union Ally drains Wilson Fisk's incriminating accounts, while Fisk's other goons kill off anyone who connected Union Allied to Fisk, and basically, anyone who, could realize that Union Allied is working with Wilson Fisk, and you see all these dead bodies, and it's something that you never thought you'd see in a Marvel show, and just the fact that they're going this far, I love it, because these people, these are not just, killed. No, they are hanging from nooses. They are, there's a dead body in a bathroom. It is very disturbing stuff, guys, and I love that. I love that they decided to take this risk. It's such a good idea, and I love that they're going darker. I really love that, and something that I've heard people complain about with all the Marvel shows and all the superhero shows in general is that they're cheesy. Nothing about this show is cheesy, and I love that. Basically, we then see another building filled with blind people packaging cocaine for shipment, and a mirror nearby looks over blueprints for New York City, which has Japanese characters scrawled across the blocks of Hell's Kitchen. Apparently, the kitchen is being targeted for something, but we don't know what it is. So what is the kitchen being targeted for? I don't know what they're being targeted for, but I'm interested in seeing what's going on there. So then we see at the last scene, Matt dons his black suit, stands atop a building with his advanced hearing. He hears another kidnapping take place, springs into action, and that's how the episode ends. And oh my god, what an amazing show, and what an amazing premiere this was. And there's so much to talk about. I first want to talk about Karen. Do you think that Karen actually killed Daniel Fisher? Do you think she killed Daniel Fisher? I don't know. We'll see what happens there. I mean, to me, she seems innocent, but I mean, Matt's knowing that she's not lying, but I just feel like there's more of the story that we don't know yet, and I'm interested in seeing what it is, and I'm very intrigued by that. Also, why does Matt not want to tell people the truth? Why does he want to tell them that it was a car accident? Because it wasn't a car accident. It was that he tried to save a man, and it didn't work out. That's why he got blind. That's why he became blind. Why does he want to tell people that? I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Wilson Fisk. How does Wilson Fisk know Matt, Foggy, and Karen? Do they know him, or does he just know them? I don't know. I want to find out more about what's going on there, because I think that's really interesting as well. I definitely feel like Matt and Foggy, they're going to definitely clash a lot over, what to do with Karen. It definitely seems like Foggy thinks Karen is more of a suspect than Matt does. Matt doesn't think she's as much of a suspect as he does, and I already really like the clashing between them. I think it's really well done the way they handle that, and I definitely really enjoyed that. Kingpin, I can't wait to meet Kingpin's character, and there's definitely a lot to say about the show. Okay, first of all, guys, I need to see episode 2, now. I really do. Luckily, I'm going to watch it after this review, because as I told you guys, I'm doing 2 episodes. I'm doing 2 episodes a week now. I'm not doing 1 episode a week. I'm doing 2 episodes a week. So, basically, I'm going to be doing, 2 episodes a week now instead of 1 episode a week, which is awesome. Now, let's talk about everything that works in the show. Everything about the show, as I said, is perfect. There is nothing wrong with the show. Nothing feels boring. Nothing feels contrived. Nothing feels out of place. Everything is perfect in the show. Let's talk about the casting. Everybody in the show is fantastic. Charlie Cox as Matt perfectly portrays the character, this blind lawyer. You can see that he wants to be this hero, but the thing I love about his character is that he's no superhero. He's not a superhero. He is a vigilante, and this is not even a superhero show. One of the best things I read about the show that I really love seeing, that the, I believe it was the creator that said it, the creator, Drew Goddard, he said that he did not want to make this a superhero show. He wanted to make this a crime drama, and that's perfect because this does not feel anything like a superhero show. I mean, if anything, this feels like The Dark Knight or Batman Begins. That's what this feels like, except it's a TV mature version of that. This is heavy, very hard to watch stuff, and I love that. And I definitely think it's really well done the way they do that. Deborah Ann Woll as Karen is great as well. I love her character. Again, the thing about her character is that she is not, she is not just some damsel in distress. No, she has a legit backstory. You really care for her character. You don't know if you can 100% trust her, and I definitely really love that they're doing it with her character, because I want to find out more about her character. I don't know if I can trust this character, but yet I feel so bad for her, and I don't know if I should or not, because we don't know if she's telling the truth. She could be a complete liar, but it seems like she's telling the truth, so I don't really know. What is she hiding with the file? Who's going after her? I really think her character is just really intriguing overall. Aiden Henson as Foggy is great. He has so many funny moments, but he's not just comic relief. He is there to be Matt's friend. He's there to have this clashing with Matt, and I love that. Toby Leonard Moore we have yet to meet, so I can't say anything about his performance because we haven't met him yet. When we do meet him, I will definitely talk about his performance because I heard he's fantastic. I definitely want to... Also, we didn't meet Rosario or Dawson yet. We have yet to meet half the characters in the show, and I love that. Because the less characters we have, the more interesting the show is. And I think that's awesome that we haven't met all the characters yet. Now, Toby Leonard Moore as Wesley, I think is great in this show. I love his character. I love how maniacal he is. I love how intimidating he is, and he perfectly portrays that very well. He did a great job with that. But yeah, Vincent D. Onofrio is Wilson, and Rosario Dawson is Claire. We have yet to meet them. We haven't met their characters yet, and I like that we haven't met them, because I want to find out more about their characters. And I find it really interesting overall. Now, the best part of the show, though, is the writing. Just the fact that they went this far with the show, I think is awesome. This does not feel anything like a Marvel show, and here's the best thing. Because the show's Teen Mature, they have no limits. They can do whatever the fuck they want with this show. They're realizing that we're not going to make this a superhero show where the villain just gets beaten up and just, nothing happens to him. No, we're going to show things that happen, because this is everything about the show. The thing I love about the show is that it has such a realistic tone. Everything about this show feels real. There's nothing that feels forced. There's nothing that feels cheesy. Nothing feels contrived, and I absolutely love that. That's nothing... I never thought I'd say that about a Marvel show, but nothing about this show feels forced, because let's admit it. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, yeah, they are very cheesy at points. They're definitely very cheesy at points. But this show is not that at all, and I absolutely love that. And I know Marvel wants to go in a much darker direction. I heard Avengers Age of Ultron, people saw it last night. I heard it's very dark. I heard it's very different than anything Marvel's done. I think Marvel's starting to turn themselves around, definitely, and try to get very, very dark. And I like the direction that they're heading in. And especially now they're doing the Deadpool movie and things like that. If this is what they want to do, I love it. I think it is the perfect time to do this. Why not do it now? This is the perfect time to start making darker Marvel things. When Marvel is at its prime, when everyone loves Marvel, do this. It's perfect. I love it. The cinematography here is so gorgeous. The show has such a different style to it, and I read people saying that it has such a different style from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter. It's much more stylized, and it's a lot more psychological. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter are a lot more action. This show is not an action show by any means. It is a thriller. This is a thriller. It is a crime drama, and I love that it's a crime drama. I love that they don't try to make this big superhero show with tons of action. It does have tons of action, but the action is there because he is a vigilante. And as long as he's going to be a vigilante, I'm looking forward to seeing what ends up happening in the next episode. I can't wait for the next 12 episodes, and honestly, guys, this might just be the best show I think Netflix has ever done, honestly. I have yet to see a Netflix show that doesn't have flaws, and this show has no flaws. Orange is the New Black, it has flaws. House of Cards has flaws. Even Bloodline has flaws. Bloodline had a lot of flaws. This show has no flaws whatsoever. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt had flaws. This show doesn't have a single flaw, and I love that. And I just feel like this is going to be the show. And everyone says, I've heard people say this, Netflix is going to become extremely popular after the show. They're already very popular, but they're going to become even more popular because of how successful this show is, and I love that. I can't wait to see how the show is. I can't wait for episode 2, and I just hope it's as good as the first episode. And I only heard it gets better and better as it goes on, which I can't wait for. But that's in my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought of this show if you have seen it. Are you looking forward to the second episode? I cannot wait for a second episode. And I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for the second episode of Daredevil, because I need to watch it now, and I need to review it, and I need to watch another episode. So, I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.